I'm going to take this team of guys, and I'm going to kick this thing right in the face. We're going to go get some freaking gold.
Rarely does a piece of footage surface that flips an entire show's history on its head. But that is exactly what just happened with Gold Rush. A fragment of recording, long believed to be lost or intentionally buried, has resurfaced down. What it shows casts a shadow over one of the most mysterious mining claims the crew ever touched. Fans always sensed something was off about that stretch of land. But no one expected the truth to be this unsettling for years. Viewers heard whispers about an isolated claim way off the main mining trails. A spot that producers barely mentioned and crews refused to work for more than a few hours at a time. It showed up briefly in early planning maps, then disappeared without explanation. Some thought it was simply unprofitable. Others believed it belonged to someone powerful behind the scenes. But the resurfaced footage suggests a different story, one that starts with a scouting mission that was never supposed to be. Filmed. The clip begins during a season that fans remember, for broken equipment and endless setbacks. What wasn't shown was that part of the crew was sent to survey that forgotten claim, a place the locals warned them about for reasons no one fully explained. The video shows the miners stepping onto the clearing with an uneasiness that doesn't match their usual confidence. Something felt wrong even before the first test dig. And within minutes, the tension begins to show. A generator sputters out, even though it was serviced earlier that same morning. A metal detector gives off erratic signals, jumping between readings that make no geological sense. The miners exchange glances, confused at first, then increasingly concerned. Most crews would have packed up. But Gold Rush miners are not known for walking away from a potential strike. So they pushed deeper into the site, brushing aside the oddities. That's when the real warning signs appeared. The soil shifted under their feet in a way none of them recognized. Fine dust drifted upward in steady bursts, almost like breathing. As they dug, the ground texture changed abruptly from solid gravel to a strange, compacted layer that seemed deliberately placed there. The miners paused. One of them muttered something about the land being covered up, though the footage cuts before he finishes the sentence. What's clear is that no one knew what they were about to uncover. The camera operator changes angle, almost nervously, right as the crew breaks through that compacted layer. A hollow thud echoes through the clearing. Then silence. They lift away another scoop of dirt, and an unexpected void opens beneath the excavator bucket. The airflow that rushes out sends the loose dust in swirling patterns, and every miner in the shot steps back at the same time. Nobody speaks for several seconds. Even through the rough audio, you can hear a low vibration coming from inside the cavity. The crew decides to pull back. Whatever this space was, it wasn't natural, and it definitely wasn't safe. From there, the project abruptly halted. The miners packed equipment without the usual chatter. The camera operator turned the lens downward, recording only boots and gravel. The next recorded frame is from a completely different location. The claim was never shown again. That alone would raise suspicion, but the resurfaced footage goes further. It reveals the exact moment producers flagged the site as restricted. Paperwork changed overnight. Maps were edited. Even the digital archives now show that the claim was not viable. A label that contradicts every visual sign in the footage. If the crew found nothing, why erase the entire zone? When the footage resurfaced, it wasn't from any official release. It came from someone who held onto a backup drive from that season. Likely an editor or a former production member who didn't want the clip to disappear forever. Mining forums exploded with debate. Some believed the claim sat on unstable ground. Others argued they had uncovered signs of an old mining tunnel sealed decades earlier. A few suggested the land was part of a private reserve and filming. They breached an agreement that the show could never admit publicly. But the last seconds of the clip sparked the biggest wave of speculation on those final frames. The camera catches something just inside the cavity, a faint, structured outline, like reinforced beams buried under layers of soil. It's barely visible, but it changes everything. The way the miners react says even more. Shock, confusion, and something close to fear. They knew they weren't staring into a natural pocket of Earth. It was something made, something someone didn't want disturbed. No one knows who sealed the area or why. But the resurfaced footage suggests the crew stumbled onto more than a geological anomaly. And if the reaction from producers tells us anything, it's that this was a discovery the show wasn't ready or allowed to broadcast. The claim vanished, the season moved on, and the miners never spoke about it again. Now that the footage has reappeared, fans are revisiting old episodes, searching for small clues that might have hinted at this buried story. Some believe the discovery was tied to local land disputes. Others think the cavity connected to an abandoned system of shafts with a complicated legal trail. Whatever the truth is, one thing is certain. This was not just another dead claim. It was a place with history, secrets, and risks far beyond what viewers were shown. If the full clip ever goes public, it could redefine an entire chapter of Gold Rush. Until then, all we have is this glimpse into what the miners found and the silence that followed. Because sometimes the most valuable thing hidden underground isn't gold. It's the story someone hoped would stay buried. What's even more intriguing is how people directly connected to the show have reacted now that the footage is circulating in private circles. A former equipment operator who chose not to reveal his name commented anonymously on a mining forum that he wasn't surprised the clip got buried, adding that certain locations they filmed were never meant to be touched, let alone documented. It's clit. He didn't elaborate. But the wording fueled even more speculation. If this claim was simply unsafe or unprofitable, why would anyone restrict what could be said about it years later? Silence is common in the industry, but selective silence always signals something deeper. Another clue comes from satellite images that fans analyzed after the resurfaced footage went viral. When comparing older and newer images, they noticed that the area around the claim shows unusual land disturbance, patterns not heavy enough to indicate full-scale mining, but too deliberate to be natural erosion. It looks like something was filled in, leveled, and then left alone. Even stranger, there are no tracks leading in or out from that period. Whatever happened, there wasn't part of normal operations. It was quick, controlled, clearly meant to stay unnoticed. More theories gained traction when a retired geologist from the region weighed in. He explained that parts of the territory contain remnants of early 20th century experimental digs projects carried out by small independent groups before mining regulations tightened. Many of those tunnels were never mapped properly, and some were sealed without public record. If the Gold Rush crew accidentally broke into one of those forgotten shafts, it could explain the abrupt shutdown. Not because of danger alone, but because the legal rights surrounding old structures can be complicated. Exposing them on television could trigger land disputes, mineral rights conflicts, or even historical preservation claims. But the mystery deepens with the final detail in the resurfaced footage: the miners' body language. These are people who face collapsing walls, machinery failures, and unpredictable weather without flinching. Yet in this clip, when the cavity opens and the strange outline becomes visible, their expressions shift in a way fans rarely see. It's not just showcase recognition, almost as if they understood in that moment that they had crossed into something off limits, something with consequences beyond gold. That reaction is what keeps viewers talking. Not the soil, not the beams, not the edited map sits that human pause where instinct overpowers curiosity. Because miners like them don't walk away from potential treasure unless they sense something that tells them the ground beneath their boots holds more than risk. It holds history, secrets, and a story that someone, somewhere, decided the world wasn't supposed to hear. And maybe that's why the resurfaced footage matters so much now. It isn't just a lost clip. It's a window into a chapter of Gold Rush that almost slipped into oblivion a moment when the show brushed against something bigger than gold, and the cameras quietly turned away. Whether the truth surrounding that claim ever comes fully to light is uncertain. But one thing is clear: the miners found something that changed the direction of their season, and perhaps even the future of the entire operation. And knowing that this piece of footage survived it all means the full story might still be out there, waiting for the day someone finally decides to uncover it.